You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $10 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Talcon, who says, rant about artists who you feel you can never catch up to in terms of quality, and how you feel about some of them having a smaller voice than you. Endless Jess is a prime example. I don't know if I don't feel I can ever live up to Jesse in quality, but it's more. I mean, there's a big difference between even like what either of us is trying to do. Do I think that I have lived up to my potential as well as Jesse has lived up to his potential? No. But do I think I can't? I don't know about that. But I've pretty much been thinking about this ever since I first started taking off, because I was an underground voice for a very long time. I've been writing since way before I was known. And as soon as I got known, my career jumped off really fast. You know, when I was an MLP YouTuber for only about a year and a half, but I got up to 75,000 subs. And I remember when I was like passing all these channels that I love, you know, passing musicians that I loved and things like that, and just looking at it and being like, wow, more people are watching me than people that I think are significantly better than me. But the bottom line is that quality has nothing to do with popularity. I mean, it can result in popularity if enough people recognize the quality and are endeared to it, but what makes you popular is that you have a product that enough people want and have recognized that they want it and have come to you for it. And bottom line is, my content is just marketable. That's the strength of it. It is marketable content. I made it that way. You know, I used to make unmarketable content. I thought my content would never be marketable. But really, there's a kind of liberation. You know, I make fun of the fact that on YouTube the title and thumbnail is all that matters, and that SEO and, you know, like just knowing what people are talking about is the key. But there's also a liberation in that, yes, you have to talk about those things, but it doesn't really matter how. So, you know, even though my writing style is very different, and I would probably never be able to get a job at somewhere like Anime News Network writing the kind of stuff that I do, you know, like a traditional journalistic outlet, I can have a successful career on YouTube because people are willing to just click on a video because it pertains to their interests and then find out that the writing style is different from what they expected, and at least they get a chance to hear it before they make a decision about it. And more people liked it than I ever thought they would. I just thought people didn't like my style. I never realized how important, you know, just the subject matter was. But I've also worked to be marketable in that I don't make my videos confusing. I don't use too much terminology. I really downplay my knowledge in a lot of ways, because like, if you were to read my old anime blog, I was, you know, much more particular about like using Japanese names and Japanese words and in-jokes and like otaku humor and references, and like I tried to cut a lot of that out because I hate explaining myself and you know, having the audience not understand. So, you know, there is some level of deliberate marketing, but you know, I can't feel like bad about the fact that there are people who I like their content more than my own, and yet they're not as popular as me, because I mean, I've always been in that position. You know, I've always liked things that were not as popular as things that I considered to be not as good. And I mean, my work is not as popular as things that I consider to be not as good as my own work. So, you know, I'm in a similar position in my own mind. It's, you know, it's unfortunate to me. Like, it's been weird being in a position where, you know, I have more success and more money than a lot of, like, my friends who maybe I even, like, you know, would want them to have more, and I've tried to promote them and help them out and do things for them. But, like, again, what it comes down to is always going to be, like, how many people resonate with this message, how many people are willing to give it a shot, you know? I think there are many, many, many more people who would love Jesse's content, but it doesn't have the same marketability on YouTube. At least not all of it, you know? Some stuff does. He's made like the God of War video recently, or the Resident Evil video. I guess that wasn't recently, but his God of War and Resident Evil 2 videos are great examples of like very traditional YouTube content that were hugely successful. If he did that every week, he would be bigger than I am, no question. And I heavily respect the fact that he's not doing that, because it's not artistically interesting to him. He will not force himself to have ideas. Even when he's, like, got an idea, he sometimes just can't take it seriously enough. Like, the Kingdom Hearts video that he did, where essentially it's like, it's very half-hearted, because even though he has the opinion and he knows that telling the opinion will make a popular video, he's so like annoyed with the idea that this is a type of content worth consuming, as opposed to just merely a thought that exists in his head that can pass through and doesn't matter, you know? Especially the solidification that happens when you make a video, where people will hold you to things you've said. And I think that's something that bothered him in particular a lot, is this idea that like people are going to take your opinion super seriously when, you know, for someone like me, you know, in addition to him, I think, you know, I don't want to speak for Jess, but, like, for me, personally, like, the idea only exists to be a video, you know? Like, I think about something in the moment, wow, that's interesting, let's make a video about it, okay, I don't care anymore about this at all. You know, like, this is in the past, I don't, like, none of my videos are about, like, presenting my true self, and like, there is no true self, it's fluid. I'm completely different every 15 minutes, you know? So, like, I understand why he would be so annoyed with, like, the way that people are on YouTube, what is celebrated on the platform, and, you know, I think his work would be more successful if there was a paradigm that it could exist through that made more sense. You know, like, YouTube is almost there, but when it developed a culture, it totally ran away from what the potential it had was. So, you know, just in general, again, you know, it's not that I don't think I can catch up to any of my favorite artists in quality, and there are, you know, many artists who I put above myself, but, you know, and of course hopefully they are evolving as well. You know, maybe they're evolving even more than I am. Maybe they're advancing even faster than I am, and it will be even harder to catch up with some of my idols. But, you know, there will always be people I think are better than me that have less attention. There will always be people I think are worse than me that have more attention. That's the way it be.